Okay, recording this video Friday, 21st of March 2014. It's 3:01 p.m. Chicago time. Hope you had a great day's trading. Just recording this for the close of the day. Get it out. And nice little reversal day. So I was worried yesterday that we were going to rush for the highs, break to new highs, have one of those kind of 2.5% up days where all the stops get run and blah, blah, blah. But there was no demand at the highs. We got within a whisker of the previous high up here and then just fell off. We had a little bit of a rush during the after hours yesterday, kind of gapped up and then kind of closed down. 1.4 million contracts traded. So this is what I'm looking at on my charts. First of all, just going through each of the indices. The interesting pattern that I'm seeing is this last little move up. So this is the Dow on a daily chart. We've had exhaustion, bearish divergence, and we've been bouncing back off this big sell down that we had. But if you look at the activity kind of moving into that, where we had another exhaustion pattern and bearish divergence kind of come in, a lot of amateur up bars, and then this last little sequence just testing that 16,400 amateur up bars into here. So the amateurs kind of, for me, that just shows weakness. You know, when this happens behind kind of previous highs like this, that to me smacks of kind of testing the highs. And if we start breaking below the lows of those amateur bars, then that just shows that they got wrong-footed, and it's almost like a head and shoulders type kind of pattern where that's the weak right shoulder. Also see it on the Nasdaq here. We've got a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of going on. Amateur up bar, and then today a little bit of sell down. And clearest one here is on the S&P 500. So the S&P and the Nasdaq kind of broke to new highs on this move, but this little test back up into those highs, just showing that led by the amateurs, lack of demand, we kind of turn around and kind of go the other way. With patterns like this where we kind of end up reversing and kind of closing below the low, having spiked up like that, just watch out. I'm such a bear on this market, hoping it's going to roll over. If we get a close back up Monday, Tuesday, kind of above this high, that's an extremely bullish signal, because all of this activity will have shaken people out, and the follow through that we'll likely get on Monday from this. But if it comes back up, that means all of the bulls have stepped back in, brought it back up to new highs. So just watch out. It was a similar pattern to what I was looking at on the British pound the other day, and just saying, if it looks like such a bearish pattern, if it gets taken out to the upside, that's an extremely bullish signal. But at the moment it doesn't look too strong. Russell, we've not got volume data on the Russell, so we can't really kind of talk to that. But that's what's interesting to me is this little retrace that we're doing is amateur up bars into here. Smacks of a right shoulder. So let's see. And then with today's activity, when we look at the high time frame charts, with this last kind of move up, what we've just put in is on the 45-minute chart. Again, there's a ratio of 3 between these charts. 45-minute times 3 is 135, and there are exactly 3 135-minute bars in a day session of the E-mini. So you've got pullback to end of trend on the lower time frame, and we've also now put in pullback to dirty end of trend. That's not signaled as an end of trend like this one because the pullback level was violated, but that's pullback to dirty end of trend. Again, cyclical resistance up here, and we're playing around these highs at the cyclical highs. So we'll see. 40,500 tip bar chart. We actually ended up this being a little bit of a flush pattern with the overnight activity where we raced through the 60s, tried to get into the 70s, and if we'd gone the full hog and gone into a trend move up to the 1880s and a 2% plus kind of up day, big volume and so on, to blast us into a new trend move on these kind of patterns, that has not happened. We've just hit resistance on 40,500, and in fact on the lower time frame here, the 4,500, we're breaking into a downtrend here below cyclical support, so this has got to resolve itself on the downside. Anyway, so there we go. Now, just talking about day trades today, we had a beauty of a long trade setting up here. So the first thing in the morning, we kind of race away to new highs, and it's kind of blasting up through here. It's kind of late to my screen, and didn't really see any good kind of entry opportunities, and then we just sunk down here really quickly, and I was thinking, well, let's try and get in here around a support area. I had to take a 1.5 point loss when I got in at 73.25. Trade just wasn't working out. Blue professional bar kind of got broken to the downside, and we went through this little kind of move down. But I was just thinking, we've got to test the highs more than that. On this, rise, we'd seen no blue professional bars on a 1500 at the highs. We had a little bit of an exhaustion pattern at the beginning of the day, just kind of cranking up through that resistance. But no blue professional bars, no pro signal exit, rolled around after we had less buying there. But because we hadn't done that, it was nothing like that on the 4500 tip bar chart, saying that high cannot be in for today because of that activity. And then tried to go long, then went short at 71.75 and picked up 2.25, which was nice. So I'm sitting kind of around break evenish, and I'm kind of looking for the next trade. And then we had this gorgeous setup. Pull back to end of trend, goes off. Down here we've got blue professional bars coming in at the lows, and on 500 tip bar chart was pull back to end of trend as well. We'd had an exhaustion pattern and bullish divergence on our left shoulder. Then you wait for price confirmation, pull back to end of trend. All this activity, all of these amateur down bars and amateur activity kind of testing here. We had a little spike down that was a bit scary to go through, and we immediately rocketed back up. And then you can see these blue professional bars kind of come in, little gathering pattern underneath this resistance, and then we bust up blue professional bar through resistance. That's jumping the creek, getting this move going on the upside here. And it was on the 4500 tip bar chart, it was right here on cyclical support with a Rambo pattern. So the amateurs are trying to get short here after having this spike, and this thing didn't hold. We didn't kind of rally back up. It wasn't strong enough to rally back up. Kind of starts to break down. All their moving averages have started to roll over and go down. They're desperate to get short, break this into being a downtrend day, and the amateurs are leading the way. No, that's not the right place. That's where we get a test back up. So we go support to resistance on the 4500, and I think it was again a pullback to end of trend on so on the 500 tip bar chart you can see this. So that sequence support to resistance on the high time frame was a trend move, the end of a trend move on the way down, and then we break into another trend move, end of a trend move, you can see just up there at the highs. And again, on this left shoulder we've got exhaustion, bullish divergence, amateur testing, bang, we rush away. On the way up we have exhaustion buying, more exhaustion buying up here, bearish divergence patterns come in, little bit of testing, there's an amateur up bar there, testing that, and then we break into a downtrend. And on 1500 it was after we'd had exhaustion during the full liquidity of the day. It's at 10:35. By 11 a.m. in the morning we'd started our breakdown. So this is kind of 11 a.m. in the morning, and then we started our breakdown here, breaking into a downtrend on the way down, and that was a really nice move. I'd done my trading for days, so I wasn't kind of looking for that, and so it ends up being really weak buying at these highs, and we kind of roll over and go the other way. So it's interesting. I'll tag on this one. It was a really nice little setup. When everything kind of comes together, when all the cycles kind of start to align, that's when you get kind of strong moves, and that's why we bounced off those. And the amateurs were trying to get short too early. They were right directionally at the end of the day, but they can't sit through that retrace. That's too much. They're taken out on their stops or their trailing stops or whatever it might be. And so that was, you kind of knew that there was going to be some kind of test back up, shake them out a little bit. Anyway, I hope your trading is going well. 69.75, long 69.75, and checking my stops and targets. The reason for getting long, we've got a triple setting up. It was a bit bouncy. We didn't get a decent top being made here. It's kind of exhaustion, but it wasn't really during the full liquidity of the day. It's just at the open. No blue professional bars up here. So on the downside, what we've got is we've got triple setup, pull back to end of trend on 500, syncing up with cyclical support on 45. We've also put in pull back to end of trend here on 1500, so all the cyclical energy is out on this time frame as well. And now a little Rambo pattern down here. And again, we didn't have any blue professional bars at the highs. Had a little bit more down here at the lows. So break above 70, 71 and take us back up, and we'll test all the way back up. So it's been jumpy. Here we go. So a bit of jump in the creek, blue professional bar. Got this consolidation zone. Got very bumpy here. There we go. Two blue professional bars. So let's take us through this previous high. Got cyclical support on all three time frames going our way. So 1, 2, 3, It's a nice little setup, and hopefully it'll surprise to the upside. Well, having just a little bit of trouble getting through here into the 71s, but double just came up, resistance 515, and just break above this into 71s will be a strong move, just on the way up. This is a little bit of a gathering, getting ready for a break above resistance, previous resistance. So here we go. Like to see a nice blue professional bar jumping the creek, getting this thing going. Just backed off. Just because this trend's not over until we see a whole bunch of blue professional bars. 1500, we've had, reversal pattern here, exhaustion, bearish divergence. Then we had exhaustion, bullish divergence. So just getting ready for that little jump into 71s. Alright, here we go. So we've got a nice little break, blue professional bar for resistance. It's jumping the creek. Continue into 72, targets at 373.75. Probably should raise it, but what is it, 9:48 AM. It's been a bit jumpy. Haven't been really any nice clear 4-point winners, so I'm gonna just hold for this one. Looks a little bit of a stretch anyway above 73.75. It's an area where we've previously found resistance, so let's just leave it there. But this is breaking into trend moves. Here we go. Okay, just you can target 73.75. We just popped a whole bunch of stops. We're at 8,000 here. Blue professional bars, we're above resistance, so we're in trend moves here. Come on. Not sure why 72 was all that an important level to pop, but anyway, that's what happened. So come on, there's exhaustion. I need to come back up. I'm just holding out for a little pop back up above 73s. Blue professional bars coming here on 4,500. A little bit of time to run before end of trend, before cyclical resistance kind of comes in. I'm happy to keep my target where it is, but I'm just I'm up 3/4 of a point, and it's tempting just to punch out and just get out of this flush pattern. But we've done a lot of work basing, and then this break, so we've got to go for a little bit, bearish divergence before it runs out. So come on. Bingo, just taking that 73.75 before. Excellent. Just as the bearish divergence comes in on 500. So because we're above resistance here, it's got to run pull back end of trend, but it's interesting. Blue professional bars kind of come in here. So not sure what it's going to do, but what is that? It's coming up to 10 AM, so it's been a full day. I'm going to leave it there. I'll just keep watching it for a little bit longer.